result, as the aircraft flies overhead, we'll introduce the pilots in the lead. Louis Horschel from New York State. In the wing position, Ariel Ludi from Switzerland. Now, I've introduced you to these pilots. What I'm going to tell you about is to be able to fly formation like this is rehearsal, rehearsal, rehearsal. The ability to do the aerobatic maneuvers, right side up, upside down, with the wingman only looking at the leader's airplane, perhaps a target spot, perhaps a paint line, perhaps a number, perhaps a letter, perhaps a rivet line. Never looking into his cockpit, never looking at the ground, but only following the leader. Okay, now we've talked to you about the difficulty factor, the artistry in the sky, how skillful this is as you listen to the sound of the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. Back to you, Rob.
Yes, indeed, Danny. This airplane, developed initially for the Royal Air Force, not for the United States Army Air Force. When Dutch Kindelberger said, give us
North American engineers and the forerunner to NASA, which they call NACA, they had a plan put together. They achieved their goal to get the airplane out in less than 120 days. And at a press conference, one of the reporters said, how did you pull that off? That was pure magic. Getting the airplane from the start of production to on the ramp, ready to fly in that short amount of time. Dutch Kindelberger said magic. He said, let me tell you something, partner. In terms of magic, you cannot pull a rabbit out of a hat and run a telephone. Okay, watch this. Pure artistry in the sky. And the sound of the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, it is pure music. Look at this.
And that Rolls-Royce engine was the thing that made the Mustang the iconic aircraft it was, because the Allison engine didn't perform well enough at high altitude to keep up.
Rob and I, a lot of times we will hear from our devoted fans, shut up, we want to hear the engine, so we're going to be quiet.
It was the British who said, hey, that Allison engine, okay, but what if we put one of our Merlins, like we have in our Spitfires, on that airframe? And that was what made it work. In 1943, after the United States Army Air Force said, oh, we're going to use this one too, they couldn't make the engines fast enough. They being the British, because they were making them as one-offs. It was American mass production ingenuity, and the arsenal of the United States said of the Mustang that it was the most perfectly aerodynamically perfect pursuit plane in existence.
Now a little breakaway maneuvers. Now, there was another situation on the airplane. It is a liquid-cooled engine, like many of your cars and trucks from Trent GMC. How'd I do with that one? So, you have to have a radiator. The radiator shared cooling effect. It smoothed the air going through the radiator, and you say, well, some of those ideas were great from the past. But wait, we're celebrating the 50th year of the F-16. What do we see on the belly scoop of the F-16?
That same daggone gutter from 1940 to 1972 when that airplane was first designed. That kind of technology came out of America's quest for speed, for victory, and for the fight for freedom.
We're transporting the aircraft, and that is their salute to America and to our veterans, and we never will forget our veterans. Those who have gone before us, and those who are still with us, and those who are gaining veteran status even today. For that, would you give a big round of applause to all the people, all the sacrifices, and all our
number of different aircraft, including not only the Mustang, but he flies the FG-1D Corsair as part of the Navy's Legacy Flight Program. That's a big deal because it shares the commonality, the tradition of, but literally he commutes from Switzerland to the United States to fly with Louis Horschel in the Jack Aces. What a tremendous thing. And you can see, if you're looking carefully, you can see that radiator scoop underneath and that little bit of a gutter still on the airplane. It's amazing, Danny, when you think of the training through which the pilots went, primary, basic, and advanced.